Hello there, and welcome back to another Night of the Movies podcast. I'm Spy Knight, and in these podcasts, I love talking all things movies and TV, and whatever I want, whenever I want. And in today's podcast, I'm reviewing this new horror movie, Presence. So, let's get into it, shall we? Presence is this new horror movie directed by Steven Soderbergh, and if you're not familiar with who Steven Soderbergh is, he has previously directed the likes of the Ocean's trilogy, which, I mean, I love Ocean's 11, and I also really enjoy Ocean's 13, Ocean's 12 not so much, but he's directed the Ocean's trilogy, directed Erin Brockovich, couldn't say the name of the film there, Erin Brockovich, which is a great film, Traffic, which is a great film, Magic Mike, which I must admit I haven't seen, Logan Lucky, which I think is a very underrated film, it's a really entertaining film that you should check out, Contagion, which I haven't seen, Six Lights and Videotape, which I also haven't seen, Side Effect, which is another underrated film in my opinion, I really like that, and Out of Sight, which I remember enjoying, among many other films. Steven Soderbergh is a very prolific filmmaker who has made a lot of films in his time. And he was pretty much the main reason I was excited about watching this film. Because Steven Soderbergh, as I've already said, is a very accomplished director, and even his worst films, even his lesser films, are still pretty well directed. Like, I'm not a fan of Ocean's 12, but it's not a badly directed film, and I was at least hoping for good direction when it came to this movie. And that was the main reason I was excited about seeing it, because it's directed by Steven Soderbergh, plus there's a couple of film pundits that I follow online who said that this was actually a surprisingly great horror movie. So I went into the cinema to watch this film yesterday, really excited. And the Google plot synopsis for this film goes as follows. A family moves into a suburban house and becomes convinced they're not alone. Ooh. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about this film before seeing it. And honestly, this film wasn't for me. I thought it was quite bad. Not terrible and not without some merit. But the thing is with this film, it feels like Steven Soderbergh came around to making this movie and wanted to make it as a sort of experiment. Because the whole film is told from the ghost's perspective. It's told from the presence's perspective. You know, there's presence in the house. It's told from their perspective. So you're putting the point of view of the ghost in this house. And you almost feel like an outsider watching the film. And it's not a bad way that the film is made. You know, the camera moves in quite interesting ways. And it is well directed, which is what I hoped from a film like this, with Steven Soderbergh as the director. But at the same time, it feels like Steven Soderbergh made the film as an experiment, nothing more, nothing less, because the film doesn't really have much else going for it apart from the whole point of view from the ghost perspective camera movement that you get with this film. I mean, there were some sort of interesting twists that happened later on, and I believed in the family dynamic. But other than that, I really didn't get much from this film at all. It lacks substance. And not to go into spoilers, but towards the end of the film, that becomes a big downfall because of a certain twist that happens. And I was sat there and I wanted to feel something. But I didn't feel anything while I was watching this film, apart from confusion, and I also felt nonplussed because the film has this disjointed nature to its filmmaking. It keeps cutting to black. I don't understand why it did that, but at the same time it made for an unengaging film watching experience. Plus, it's meant to be a horror movie, and I always say this about the best horror movies. Best horror movies are meant to get under your skin and make you feel a nerd, make you feel creeped out, you know? But none of this film is creepy. At least it wasn't for me. And horror, it's all a subjective thing. I can see why someone would watch this movie, maybe with the lights off at home, on on a scary night when it's raining outside. I don't know what scenario I'm coming up with off the top of my head right now. But anyway, I can see somebody watching this at home with the lights turned off at night and maybe being a bit creeped out. But at the same time, I was watching this in the cinema. And maybe it's because I was watching this in the cinema, and maybe it's because I wasn't watching it at home, actually, now that I think about it. If you did watch it at home, if you lived in a suburban house, you may feel creeped out by it. But at the same time, I was watching this in a cinema, and I wasn't creeped out by it. Because I was like, yeah, I don't know. I feel unengaged by it, and therefore it's not really getting under my skin. And again, it lacks substance and it lacks anything really scary about it. It's got no jump scares either. I mean, I think jump scares are cheap because what? They elicit an emotion for like 10 seconds at the most. You know, you go, and then that's it. That's what a jump scare is really about. But there's no jump scares in this film either. I would have gone for some cheap jump scares because at least would have made a more enjoyable film watching experience. But I was sat there kind of confused by the point of the whole film. And I did leave the cinema, and the first thought that came to my mind was, what was the point of that? It's not terrible, but it's not anything worthwhile. And, sorry, my computer's just speaking to me there. It's not anything worthwhile. And with Steven Soderbergh directing, with David Koepp writing. David Koepp is a very accomplished writer. You know, he wrote this movie. He's written on the first 2 Jurassic Park movies, the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film, the first Mission Impossible film. He's written a lot of great movies, some naff movies as well. But he's written a lot of great movies in his time. And with him writing, I was expecting more in the writing element of the film. I was expecting more in the overall movie, because usually Steven Soderbergh films, I mean, usually they're great and they're so entertaining to watch. And this wasn't. It's just, I don't know. I didn't get the point of it. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Presence, I'm going to say that it's a 3 out of 10. Again, not terrible, which is why I'm not giving it a 2 out of 10. I didn't come out of the film thinking it was a complete waste of time, but I did come out of the cinema thinking, I wonder if I would have felt different if I watched that in my home. I do wonder if this would have maybe worked better if it went straight to streaming. I mean, I don't advocate, I've said this many times on this channel, I don't advocate for straight to streaming movies, but then again, streaming exists, and straight to streaming movies also exist, and I do wonder if this would have worked better as a straight to streaming film, because I do think it maybe would have creeped me out a little bit more if I was watching this in my own home, but I wasn't, and the film didn't leave me. The film didn't have a presence. And for a film that's called Presence, it should have a presence. It should have got under my skin. It should have made me feel creeped out. I should have been on the tram ride home feeling like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure I want to come into my bedroom now because of the effect that film had on me. But it didn't. It just left me feeling confused and questioning what was the point of that. And, you know, I still don't understand the point of the film. And I saw it yesterday. And I've been thinking about what was the point, and I'm trying to think about what the point of the film is now as I'm doing this review today, but I can't get to my answer. I can't answer the question, what was the point of this film? Because, in the end, it's just a pointless horror movie that's not scary, and nothing special. And it should be, with Steven Soderbergh directing. But, you know, yeah, it's pretty bad in the end. It wasn't for me. And so, all in all, as what he said, as I'm going to say once more, in this podcast today, Presence is a 3 out of 10 for me. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's podcast. If you have seen Presence, then please let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section below. Maybe you loved the film, and if you did, please let me know why I'm wrong in the comment section below as well. And as always, thanks for watching or listening to this podcast, and if you haven't yet, and you did enjoy this video, please do click down below and like and subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more videos and many more podcasts coming very, very soon on this channel. As I've already said, thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast, and I've got somewhere to be, so I will see you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye.